before I just put everything in.
I call this meeting of the South Redford Board of Education together at 6:34. Could we stand for, oh, sorry, Mrs. Hicks is going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Hicks? I mean, Mrs.
Okay, I'll be both.
Behind you.
And actually, our morning show is gonna kick us off. That's what I'm saying.
You are part of the pledge.
I think we're doing that.
And we're gonna face this way, there will be a flag.
Oh.
Here at Vandenberg, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Next item on the agenda, would you call the roll, please, Madam Secretary?
Daniel Winston.
Present.
Anthony Johnson.
Present.
Lori Hicks.
Present.
Cheryl Flusher.
Present.
Misha Early.
Present.
Amanda Flusher present. Shirley Talbert.
Present. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? The agenda will be as written. Next item on the agenda is superintendent communications.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam.
Bob.
Thank you, Madam President. It is wonderful to be here at Vandenberg Elementary School, and great to see so many faces here this evening. Congratulations are in order to the Vandenberg Elementary staff, to our students and the families of Vandenberg Elementary School who successfully hosted Black History Evening on February the 29th, where we honored our past, inspired our future, and we did that together here on February 29th. There were over 500 guests in the audience, and it was absolutely exhilarating to see the projects and the performances that students put on that fit the theme of the evening, and the amount of staff that were out that evening, as well as families, was just simply tremendous. Our very own Vice President of the Board of Education was our keynote speaker that evening, for those of you that were not able to be there. And she did an outstanding job. And then we also had our very own state representative, Ms. Stephanie Young, that was there that evening as well. So just an incredible job honoring our past and inspiring our future. So much thanks to the Vandenberg staff for making that happen, to Mrs. Hughes and everybody who was a part of that evening. Also this evening, I would like to acknowledge the amazing work that some of our elementary science teachers are doing across the district. Ms. Jessica Mail from Adams Elementary School, she completed the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science, and her teaching application is awaiting final results from the review committee. And she also presented at the 71st Annual MSTA Conference on March 2nd. And she also received grant funds from the Wildflower Association of Michigan to start native gardens this spring. So congratulations to Jessica Mail from Adams Elementary School. Also, congratulations are in order for Ms. Jody Fabian from Jefferson Elementary School. Ms. Fabian, she was featured by Wayne County Farm Bureau for her partnership with the Farm Box subscription. And she's doing incredible work when we think about the Farm Box subscription program, and happy to share some additional information. So many thanks to Ms. Fabian. And both Mrs. Fabian as well as Kathy Bastine from Jefferson Elementary School are continuing their work with the upcoming Redford Library, which will showcase kindergarten science about learning about the different habitats. So many thanks to Ms. Bastine and Mrs. Fabian for their continued efforts taking place this May at the Redford Library. Also, Ms. Sarah McGuire, as well as our very own Katie Stevenson, who is here in the audience this evening as well, who received grants from the Wildflower Association of Michigan to start native gardens also this spring. And also congratulations are once again in order for Katie Stevenson, who was reelected as the elementary director for Michigan Science Teachers Association. So congratulations to Katie. And she also presented at the 71st Annual MSTA Conference, which occurred on March 2nd. Also, our fourth grade teams across the district are involving many community partners in STEM learning with specific experiences with both DTE and Detroit Diesel. And so congratulations are in order to each of those staff members mentioned here, and again for organizing a very successful Black History Evening. And it's great to see so many folks here from the Vandenberg staff. So with that, Madam President, that concludes my communications.
Thank you so much. First of all, I have a board, next item on the agenda is board communications. I have a board communication. Our Lynn County Association of School Boards class was our class was not, we won't have our class on Wednesday night because we did not get enough participation. And I also have another board communication. Well, this is something, most Native American people attach special significance to the eagle and its feathers. Images of eagles and their feathers are used on many tribal logos as symbols of the Native American people. To be given an eagle feather is the highest honor that we can be awarded within this culture. Both the bald and golden eagles are highly revered and considered sacred within Native American, Indian culture and religion. They are honored and with great care and shown the deepest respect. They represent honesty, truth, majesty, strength, courage, wisdom, power, and freedom. When we were at Fisher, Mrs. Coos gave us an eagle, and we wanted to start a new board meeting tradition by giving this award to one of you tonight in hopes that you will carry on the tradition and award to another board member next month. Use your own eagle eye to notice the good works in one another and keep the eagle flying from next to next. And who I would like to give this eagle to tonight is Miss Lori Hicks.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Speak.
That was it.
Nobody's gonna accuse me of being verbose. I'm impressed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience, topics related to the agenda. Are there any? There are none. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the consent agenda?
To the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have a support?
Support.
Mrs. Hicks?
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved by Mrs. Fletcher, supported by Mrs. Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 7 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is a presentation from Vandenberg Elementary. Mr. Bob.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I will turn it over to Principal Hughes and to the Vandenberg staff.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, South Redford School Board, welcome back to Vandenberg. It's great to have you guys here again. And usually we kick it off by introducing our staff. So that's kind of where I'm going to start. So if I could have Kyla Page stand up. She, as you know, is our assistant principal for the elementary schools. So Kyla and I have been working together, and It's been a lot of fun, and so I said, hey, are you staying? And she said, yes. And I said, great, you have a job. So she is gonna be also speaking about Vandenberg because she's here, and she's involved in a lot of our different events that we actually put on in our meetings and so forth, and is an integral part of what we do. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of have her step in the spotlight a little bit. But with that said, let me go ahead and introduce our staff. First of all, you guys, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. And every year we buy a new shirt, and this is the shirt. It's Teach. But let me go ahead and start with Jerry Bernowskis. So please stand up, Jerry, our 3rd grade teacher. Thanks, Jerry, for being here. Jill Conti, our PE teacher. And she also is our solutions coordinator, so Jill will be coming up here a little later, so thank you guys. Star Edison, our social worker that works with our special ed students. We have Elizabeth Kangas here. She works in our cross-categorical classroom. Betsy Lepak, who is in charge of our library learning commons. So thank you, Betsy. You set us up for today, and I appreciate it. We have Angela Magnaculda, our 4th grade teacher, and also my partner in crime because we team teach together. So it's kind of fun. Nikisha Mitchell, our GSRP preschool teacher. Paige Nicholson, grade 1. Jamie Peterson, grade 2 teacher. Y'all not standing up now. I know you worked out, but still. Yeah, some of our team is so healthy after school they went to go have balance in their life, worked out, and is now back, which, you know, hey. So Jamie, 2nd grade teacher. Kristen Salese. Yay, thank you. Kindergarten teacher. Amy Shilby, our interventionist.
I did not work out.
Yeah. She's been learning all day. It's brain power, Shilby.
So I can stand all night.
Yeah. She's been attending a PD, so she's learned a lot of new things. And you got the brain exercising. That's what you got. Amy's going to speak a little later on some data, too. We have Kelly Shoup, grade 3 teacher. Katie Stevenson, our coach, instructional coach. We have Linda Potts, our social worker for our regular ed students. We have Claudia Rushlow, who is on also Vandenberg and Fisher team, and she is our teacher consultant. So Claudia, welcome. And then we have Ashley Cowell, who is our district floater. However, she is a jack, what's that?
Our family.
Yeah, she is, and she is a jack of all trades, and you know, she really helps everybody out a lot, right, guys? So, you know, it's wonderful to have everyone here. So that's some of our team that's joining us today. What's that?
She's there.
Did I get everybody? Okay, thanks, Jared. Jared always has my back, so thank you. So you can see this is our whole team. We definitely had a good time after our PD, and this was taken before the school year started, so at our popsicles on the playground and our open house. So it's fun, and you can see our play structure is in full honor, and actually we took a few videos after we took the pictures of us playing on the structure. So we had to test it out, right guys, before the kids did. But it was a lot of fun, and then we worked with the kids on how to properly play with expectations of this. But hey, you gotta have fun, right guys?
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with the 3 big rocks that really ground us in our work. And you know, Jason has a message that is very intentional, purposeful, and clear. And that's looking at the relationships that we build, our responsiveness to that, making sure that we have a safe and orderly environment, not only for our students, but for our staff, aligning our curriculum instruction and assessment, and then making sure that we're really looking at the DEI lens, right, throughout all of that. Our MyKIP district strategies are, again, safer nurturing for all, looking at our families as supportive, active partners in the work that we do, and you got to see that the other day at Black History and also at our other events and our open house, etc. Safe and nurturing environment for all, and making sure that we have a guaranteed viable curriculum that's high quality and assessment based. Kyla, can we go back to the morning show slide? So we started off with the pledge, so I apologize, but I need to show you what we do every day. And Joy Burks
Hello and welcome to Vandenberg
Joy Burks is not here today, but she works on our Eagle Report that grounds us in something that we do every week at Vandenberg. It's announcements and fun, so if you could just fast forward through the pledge just a tad. Perfect.
Joe will donate and fund we have done.
Yeah. So this is why we do what we do, and these are some of our special things that we do. That was Shelby on the right.
Guys, don't forget that March is reading month. Keep challenging yourself.
Also, there's one more week of focus right there. Everyone will also our Vandenberg pledge. This pledge is promised to be the best of the week. Please pledge to me and repeat after me. Today I pledge to do my best at Vandenberg Elementary School.
Today I pledge to do my best at Vandenberg Elementary School.
I'll be safe.
I'll be safe.
I'll be kind.
I'll be kind. And I'll be a leader.
It sounds good. You know, everyone gets pledge codes and say I voted for. Please pledge where your favorite college is. You can match your teachers to pledge college for your school. The pledges will be on sale every Friday for 1 month.
Okay, Eagles, let's hear some more school announcements to get this week started.
Our cooperative challenge this week is to use iMessages.
And iMessage includes words about how we feel and why we feel that way.
Use words the feeling street or feelings universe to express your iMessage.
Also, make eye contact when using and listening to iMessage.
iMessages are important for letting each student put into words how they feel and for telling other people how we feel.
iMessages are also important for understanding how others feel when they tell us the iMessage.
Bye guys.
Good morning. Remember that our grab-and-go breakfast is served from 8:30 to 8:40 each morning at your entry door. Also, remember to add your lunch count when you enter your classroom. And let's see what delicious food our lunchroom is serving this week. Today we will have basket 6. Tomorrow is breaded chicken nuggets. On Wednesday we will have beef nachos. And on Thursday we will have cheeseburgers. We will end the week on Friday with pizza sticks and marinara. Yummy! And remember, we have different choices for choice 2. Today's choice 2 is a bagel pizza fun lunch, and tomorrow is a cheddar cheese chef salad. On Wednesday, we'll have a nacho fun lunch kit, and for our choice 2 on Thursday, we'll have a mozzarella cheese chef salad. Our Friday's choice 2 will be our turkey and cheese lunch kit. Enjoy. Good morning, Eagles. Temperatures are warming up, and we are just 9 days away from the start of spring. Remember that we have outdoor races all spring, so always dress for the weather. Check out this forecast for this week and remember to also bring an umbrella for this little just in case. Bye now. Alright, Eagles, we have breakfast to celebrate this week.
Trinity in first grade celebrated her birthday yesterday. Andrew for fourth grade and our voted so, and Taiwan for fourth grade and our voted so are celebrating their birthdays today.
Rozier in 5th grade will celebrate his birthday on Wednesday, and Mackenzie in 2nd grade will celebrate her birthday on Thursday.
Carter in 3rd grade has a birthday this Friday, March 15th. It's our first graders, Bryson, Dario, and Sky in 2nd grade will all in our birthdays this week on Saturday.
Awesome, don't forget to wish your fellow Eagles a happy birthday this week. Happy birthday, guys and gals. Did you know that Vanderbilt offers transportation? We have an orange bus with the first pickup at 8:14 a.m. and a black bus with the first pickup at 8:16 a.m. Check out these routes. If there's a route near you, your family can sign you up by calling transportation at 313-535-4000, extension 1105.
Hey Vandenberg Eagles, don't forget, March is reading month. You should be returning your family reading challenge slips every Wednesday. Congratulations to our first two winners, Callie from Miss Shoup's 3rd grade and Isley from Mrs. DiLorenzo's kindergarten.
Good morning, guys. While we look for more There's the sports system, don't forget about our professional teams. Today's game is against the Hornets at 7:30. They will also play the Raptors on Wednesday at 7, and the Miami Heat this Friday again at 7:30. All right, guys. We'll see you back next week.
Good morning, Eagles. Today we are saying congrats to Ms. Shoup's 3rd grade class for being the fastest class here at Vandenberg with a class average of 16.7 laps. Ms. Shoup's class also is the most improved class in their PACER test. They added 8 more laps to the class average. Several students also went up in the PACER test, and Mrs. Conti would like to give a special shout out to members of the 100s Club. These guys are 3rd graders, AJ and Elijah, 4th graders, Charis, Torian, Xavier, and KJ, and 5th grader, Chloe. Keep up the awesome job, guys.
Good morning. The cheer this week is called the Excellent Cheer. To do the cheer, you're going to place your forearm in front of you to make the X as you say, excellent. Alright, let's try to cheer together, guys. Excellent. Great job. We'll see you back next week with a new cheer. I know.
Good morning, friends. I know we all know and love this stuff right here. Yes, this is money. The first issue of the United States government paper money happened on March 10, 1862. That was 162 years ago. Paper money first started with just $5, $10, and $20 bills. Alright guys, go ahead and spend some money, and I'll see you back next week with another fun fact. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. We are back this week with another joke. Can I eat? Yes. How many months did I get at math? I don't know. How many? None unless you count Dracula. Get it?
Eagles, your family can view this Eagle report by finding on our class or school story at the beginning of every week. Remember, Eagles, be kind, be safe, and be a leader. Have a great week.
So I had to go back to that because as I was talking about Jason's, 3 rocks and what are the pillars for us, this just weaves everything in really well, and it just kind of speaks to who we are as Vandenberg Eagles, right? And then you also heard that it was shared out with our Parents on Dojo, which is our communication tool in a sense. So thanks for stopping back. Thanks, Kyla. So we're going to move through and discuss various types of data today. You ready, James? I know this speaks to you, data. I know. So we are going to look at our MSTEP data in ELA. And you have ELA at the top. You have math here. And then you can see 2019, 2022, and 2023. And this column here is Vandenberg, and the district, and the county, and the state. So 2023 proficiency stayed the same as 2022. And then for math, we're at 22%, so it increased to 5%. It's a good thing I'm tall, right? And then this is grade 4. Again, the same thing, ELA, etc. So increased from 2022 to 2023, 5%. And then math, 11%. and we're gonna go to grade 5. Now, grade 5 does ELA, math, science, and social studies. So you can see that 2023 ELA, the top here, is at 30%, and it stayed pretty even there. It is above the district and close to the county. And then math, we have 11%. However, it did increase from 2019. Our science is 21%. Again, proficiency is close, not there yet. And then social studies, our proficiency increased from 2019, but work to do. These are the different scale score ranges in each of the grade levels for ELA and then for math. And we do look at those scale scores because we try to determine, where we're going to move kids. So we are using the here's what, so what, now what? So what are we doing? So we went through the proficiencies and the areas of improvement. And we also looked at the claims and targets, the strengths and the weaknesses. We identified students that are advanced, and we challenged them more this year than ever. So what? We need to identify those students with proficiencies and areas of improvement. We need to continue to move kids forward, right? We talk about this, and show growth from 2022 to 2023. And we also identified the students. We have a tutoring program, which we'll get to in a minute. But we looked at those students that were super close, and some of our teachers are tutoring. So we're really targeting those students. We're looking at systematically attendance and behavior and how it impacts academics during our solutions meetings. And Jill is going to talk about what we just did, last Tuesday, right? And then we also have our interventionist, Amy Shilby, and Katie, our instructional coach, and me, actually, because I'm part of the PLCs and the teachers. Creating academic plans. We do have win time, which is like intervention, which we're going to speak to as we move through. So it's like, all right, this happened, but what are we going to do now, right? Assessment literacy for all staff, so we've done some training. And actually, Nadia came and met with us, I don't know, like last week or something, Katie, thank you. And today, my homework, well, I gave it to myself, right? After meeting with Nadia, is to analyze our growth data. You guys haven't even seen this yet. So we will reveal that as well, because we need to look at data that's live and in the moment. So we're gonna see what it looks like in winter, okay? So with that said, that's our M step. That really covers, right, grades 3, 4, and 5. However, it's those students that have moved through the grade levels. But I'm gonna call Amy up to go ahead and talk about what does our data look like in kindergarten, right? And in first grade, and so forth. So, Amy, thank you.
Hi all. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm the reading interventionist here at Vandenberg Elementary School. Have been for 7-ish years, I think. I just want to capture a little bit about what our kindergartners and what our first graders are able to do and show. So we don't have the NWEA or M-STEP reports in kindergarten or first grade. And so I use, and my team uses, the DIBELS, which is now called Acadience. It stands for the Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. And it's a battery of tests combined into one composite score. And if you look here, what I circled and want to highlight is the actual composite score for the kindergartners. And I need you to see and understand something about the kindergarten test. When we give the test in the fall, there are first sound fluency, and then letter naming, which isn't even on a graph. Those are the only two really big focus points for the beginning of the kindergarten test. So that guides us as the intervention team where they're starting and where we need them to go. And some of them come to us knowing a lot of their letter sounds and beginning literacy skills, and others not so much, and that's where we focus, and that's our job, right? To move them through that system. So then the middle of the year comes, January, we test them again, and the test isn't even the same because we now incorporate phoneme segmentation, which is where you have, you say a word to a child, the word cat, at. How many sounds are in the word? They need to be able to hear those separate sounds, those phonemes in the word, and be able to tell us what they hear. Those are the phonological awareness, the thinking through and being able to hear and understand and process sounds in a word is so vital to the beginning literacy process in kindergarten and even into the first grade. So we're not there yet for the phoneme segmentation. We've got 24% of the kids performing below grade level. But then, if you look at the green, at the benchmark level, we have done a tremendous job overall, I think, from the beginning in November when we first tested, or September when we first tested them, through the January benchmark time, just through the daily practice of this skill embedded in the SFA curriculum that we have. So the teachers do whole group lessons, and this is a huge component in that routine that they do on the daily. So they don't know what it's about at the beginning, and then we're being able to see. What I am hoping and knowing is that the students in the red and the yellow will be added to the green and the blue, of course, when we take this test again in May. First sound fluency is another, that one I went through, that's where you say, the first sound fluency is I say a word like lamp, and they have to be able to tell me what the first sound is that they hear in that word. That's the beginning stages of being able to segment all of the sounds through the word. You can see here that we were able to move that red line, shrink it down a little bit, and disperse those students throughout the at or below, or the at or above grade level benchmark. Nonsense word fluency is where there's a 3-letter consonant, vowel, consonant word, and it is a nonsense word. And they have to be able to segment that and or just read it. So at the beginning in kindergarten, being able to read the whole word is not really part of the benchmark system. And you can see the very first time taking the test that we had quite a few students that met or exceeded the benchmark already. So we're doing some great things in the kindergarten classrooms. If you could click to the first grade slide for me, Kyla, thank you. The first grade data you're able to compare a little bit easier because the test remains the same. You can see that we started out with, in the beginning of the year, with 38% of the students below the benchmark in their composite score, and that's where we take all of these subtests and build the score. And then we had 40% well below the benchmark, but I'm going to show you why that changes, because we incorporate a very difficult task. There's another subtest that's the oral reading fluency, and it's timed, and it's not user friendly. I'm just going to be honest with you. But not to have excuses about anything, but we just have to then train and give that support to the students in their oral reading fluency. So you can see in the nonsense word fluency, we've moved the students. Same with the whole word reading. We went from, the benchmark changes a little bit as well. So you're going to have to, it's not as cut and dry as it looks here on the screen. But again, this is what we build our WIN groups on. This is what we look at as one piece of data to help us group the students into our intervention groups and to put them into placements to help them move and grow throughout the school year. The second slide, Kyla, first grade, is the oral reading fluency. And that one is, you can see that the words correct is one measure, and then the accuracy is another measure. So they take both of those components to give the oral reading fluency score. And then all of those scores are put together as our composite score. I am very, very proud of our students, and they work so tremendously hard in all of the components of beginning to read. And all of, you wouldn't think that learning how to read a nonsense word would be very important, but it actually is, and it's, they look at you, the readers look at you like, why do I have to read this? It's not a real word. But it's just that firing of the brain that we need to increase, and we need to we need to be able to read and segment any word that comes our way. So it's kind of cool. Another measure that we do once we look at this, we have some other subtests that we do, like the DRA progress monitoring, which is again just another snapshot of how they are able to take all of what they're learning in their daily reading and then perform again on a 1-minute test. So that is all I have for kindergarten and first grade. And there we have it.
But I think it was awesome that Amy spoke on that, because that's where we need to start, right? So we need to start at kindergarten and grade 1, and then kind of see where we go with grade 2. So Katie's take show.
Yeah.
Katie's gonna come up and discuss where we're at. And it's wonderful because, Amy meets with the kindergarten and first grade teachers and really delves into this with her whole monitor and TV and everything, and they discuss it on a regular. And then same with our PLC groups in reading and math for, kindergarten through 5 actually. But it's kind of nice because then you're capturing a true picture of where that child is at that moment in time. And the beauty is we have many more moments that we get to learn from them, and also as teachers and educators really make sure that we're doing everything that we can to move that achievement forward. So, Katie.
So I have some updates for where we are currently with our current data. And for reading, we started at the beginning of the year with 92 students at or above grade level, according to the NWA proficiency report. And so from there, we wanted to think forward and create a hot list that had some of those bubble kids that we wanted to focus on getting over into the next category. So we set our number to be 117 by the end of the year. And as of November, we were already at 105, so we knew we were getting close. And in the fall, we had 46 students, grades 1 through 5, on our hot list, or our bubble focus kids. Currently, we have 123 students at or above grade level, so we exceeded our magic number halfway through the year.
That's huge. Just saying, that's huge. Can we give it up? Thank you, teachers and staff.
And then we had an additional 30 students that showed growth from quarter 1 to quarter 2. So they may not be at grade level yet, but they are showing growth. And right now we have 39 students on the hot list. So we've been able to take off some, which is definitely the trajectory that we want to have. So our new magic number for the end of the year is to reach 138. So we're really hopeful and positive that we're going to make it. So when we looked at the growth across the district in comparison with Vandy, we saw that we were either meeting the district or slightly above in most cases. And so for the graph, the Vandy is in blue and the district is in red. And as you can see, it's a pretty tight race across the grade levels. And NWA is in grades 2 through 5.
All right.
So for math, we are moving kids forward, and in the fall, in September, we started with 106 students at or above the 40th percentile mark, according to NWA, and that gave us 36 students on the hot list, and our latest results from January, we're at 113 students now that are at that percentile mark. 57% of our students showed growth between Q1 and Q2, and now we have 22 students on our hot list, so that number is decreasing as well. And our overall goal for the year is to have 125 students, so we are on our way towards that as well. So when we look at the math growth across grades K through 5 for math, in comparison with the district, we have outperformed the district in grades 1 through 5 with our growth from fall to winter. And where we have not outperformed, we're like within a tenth. So it's very close, and that is something that we are very proud of, because math is definitely a focus area of getting all the parts of our programs together and working every day. So some action steps that we've taken over the course of this year so far is really focused on those instructional best practices across the day. So not just in reading, not just in math, but everywhere. We've done small group testing when it comes to NWA. And then we have been doing PLC discussions when we're having teachers look at their data in the moment. And make goals around that and identify students that they want to really zero in on and create their own action steps in the classroom. Our win time, like Amy mentioned, is focused on the in-moment data and really meeting them where they are with what they need. And then our building leadership team has we know who is on the hot list. So Lisa knows, I know, Amy knows, Jill knows even. So it's not just a one person, we're all invested in moving these kids forward.
And something that you guys can add to your slideshow also is the tutoring program that we've started. So it's Impact to High Learning. So we looked at those kids that were on the hot list, that was meeting semi-proficient, and Katie and Kay Stevenson really helped put the criteria together, along with a math person over there, Lisa Hughes, working on some of the things that helped push our kids where it needed to go.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to take a little break here for a second, because that's the first time that these guys, well, and you guys, have also seen that data. So let's celebrate. On 3, I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1, and we're all gonna clap. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Nice. We do that at our staff meetings. They think I'm crazy, but thank you so much, Katie. So Kyla's gonna go ahead and speak on our student and staff wellness and kind of what she sees here at Vandy.
Yeah, so we focus on student achievement, but we also have to make sure our kids are in the right mindset, health-wise and wellness-wise, because we look at academics and behaviors when we think about the whole child. So things that we have in the district and in our schools is Lincoln Behavioral Health Services that is here. And then we have 2 district coaches, Holly and Rachel, who focus on our Tier 1 and Tier 3 students. We have our restorative circles that our staff has done. That is led by the training by Holly, and Elizabeth Dupont was doing those trainings, as well as our social work team, Linda and Stokes. Being able to identify their emotions, our reset room mentor, coach, who really has taken that on with really working with our kids and helping them reset. As well as our Fun Fridays for our staff, of being the ninth caller, and they get a fun ride of taking their class for the last 30 minutes. So we think about the health and wellness of our staff as well. And then Lisa's really good with mailbox treats that we put in there, as well as birthday treats that our staff does here as well. And then we really do a good job with highlighting our staff members. Our team is really good with uplifting one another and recommending someone each month for that. So that's how we kind of look at our whole student and our staff for health and wellness.
Yeah. And Jason Williams, coach, is not here today. He had to take some time to be with his family, but he is a huge mentor to our kids along with Linda, and they're working on some other projects that are on the side along with Jason's friends and a couple of Linda's. So really trying to get a gentleman's club here at Vandenberg. So it's exciting. It's all kind of reveals here. So I'm going to call up Jill. She's going to speak about what our team does on our staff meeting time and how we're all broken apart into teams and solution stuff.
All right, so each of our staff members is part of one of our solutions teams, and we have 3 here. We have an attendance team, and I kind of just highlighted what each team does. And attendance team is really in charge of educating families about what's going on, creating partnerships with families, making sure that families are aware of attendance policies and that kids can learn and need to be in school. I have those 2 next, sorry. Parent involvement is the team who's doing that. And then attendance is identifying any key barriers that might get in the way of kids being here in school. And then cooperative culture, our third and final team that people want to remember of, focuses really on the behavior of students in the school. They kind of have their finger on the pulse of what's happening here, any hot button issues that we might be seeing in terms of behavior. And then identifying school-wide or maybe even classroom-based initiatives that we can use to support behavior. So our attendance team, what they were working on for our last solutions goal is they were targeting students who were kind of on our hot list for attendance, and they were working to help those students chart days that they were in school, keeping it completely positive, like, I'm so glad you're here today. You're going to go out in the hallway and you're going to color in a star on your star chart. At the end, when your star chart gets filled in, we've got this special prize for you, just keeping it positive that you're here. And looking to move those students out of being chronically absent into just regular attendance monitoring. And we're currently working on that, so we'll have to get back to you guys with data on that. Our parent involvement team is trying to increase parent involvement here at Vandenberg. And as many of you guys saw at Black History Night, we had a ton of involvement here, and we're trying to see how we can get that type of involvement with all of our parent activities and drawing parents in. One of the things that our parent involvement team came up with was, number 1, tracking parents who are here. So you might have seen at our event a QR code. So parents could just use their phone and scan it, fill out a quick Google form so we could see who was here, how many family members were here, collecting the data on that. But then also passing out to parents and families a little half sheet with all the events that are happening, just so they have a little snapshot 1 semester at a time of what's happening for them coming up. Our cooperative culture team, they work on, also we're big on the QR code here, so they also created a QR code to help staff members out. Lisa talked about Coach in the reset room where he mentors students to kind of get their behavior in check. And if you need to, as a staff member, send a student to the reset room to have a little proactive reset before anything were to happen in the classroom, you just scan the QR code with your phone, you put in the kid's name, what's going on, so Coach knows or someone in the office knows and they can report to Coach, and he kind of knows what measures then to take with that student so he can reset them and get them back to class as quickly as he possibly can. And then the code also identifies to staff, is it a proactive, do we need to be proactive before something happens with the student, or are we sending them reactively? We need to maybe have some other office interventions or have Lisa speak to the student. The Google form also identifies the behaviors that are happening, so that as a staff we can look at the behaviors and kind of see what's reoccurring a lot and then move forward and create a plan as a staff from there. So those are the things that our solutions team is working on.
Thanks, Jill. So, I mean, I guess tonight we just wanted to really go through and provide you with a comprehensive way that we work with our students, because truly, we love and care about our kids, and that's number one. And we definitely put kids first. So I thank you, team, for continuing to do the work that you do. I am so thankful and happy to be here, and it is joyful for me in more ways than one. So, but with that said, if you have any questions for all of us, we are here. Or comments, or celebrations.
Can we have a copy of that?
Yes.
I've already emailed it.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And then I'll send you guys the latest data today too. But it was exciting. So thanks so much for being here at Vandenberg. We appreciate you and the work that you do to support the work that we do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's get moving.
That was exciting
Okay,
reveal.
next item on the agenda is presentation of Jefferson and Vandenberg Construction District.
Thank you, Madam President, to talk about some of the exciting renovations that will soon be upcoming for Vandenberg as well as for Jefferson. We have our partner Kyra Copeland joining us this evening here from TMP Architecture. And so with that, I will turn it over to Kyra.
Thank you. So I'm excited to go over the last two elementary schools that are getting the gym addition. So you've seen this with Adams. So it's the same kind of a design as far as having the...
You can Jefferson or Vandenberg first, sorry.
Either one, whichever one to
Okay.
go first. So Jefferson, okay? And the design is very similar. As you know, the schools are very similar. So you will be seeing the layout that is similar to both of them, going to the concept. And this is a concept that we've talked about before, how we have the nest, you know, the young children, they're starting out at the nest as they advance through. Looking at the nest, also the colors, bringing out the colors of nature. So that's where you'll see the color palette coming from. And we can go over some of these finishes later in more detail, but just some of the colors that you see in nature, the greens, the browns, the different speckles that look like, you know, the eggs of the eagle. And we have the lines that are showing the branches. So we have all of these vertical lines that tie back to the concept of the nest. This is looking at our site plan and how you will see the addition situated on the site. The large arrow is showing where the main entrance is right now. We have the two medium-sized arrows that are showing how you would enter into the addition. You see the change that we have in the parking lot allowing for the addition, and then the smaller arrows that we have in the back are going off of the kindergarten where the kids would be coming out for the playground area. So looking at the floor plan, this is showing the material. So the finishes that you see up there are the finishes that I have here. This is also showing you how each individual classroom is. So you can see how the classrooms have the carpet, and that's this field carpet that we have here. So we have carpet in the classrooms. You can see the carpet that we also have in the library learning commons, and the accent colors that we have that would also be coinciding with the furniture that we have. There is a walk-off carpet that we have. You see that at the main entry, so it's a more dense carpet so that as you're coming in, you're not tracking in all of the dirt. So that you will see at the main entry over here. You will see that also at the addition. Some of the other finishes we have would be the resilient flooring, which is our quartz flooring, and you should be familiar with this from looking at it in Adams. The same kind of material, bless you. The same kind of material, very durable, same color palette that we had there. You're also looking at what we have for our gym flooring that's right along there. New flooring also in our cafeteria, and that would be the resilient flooring as well. So this is just getting a look at how the addition is going to sit on the site in relationship to the existing building. We're also taking into consideration the fact that we have homes right across the street. So we were looking at the height consideration, lowering the height a little bit for both Jefferson and Vandenberg because they're a lot closer to the homes than what we had in Adams. So that's something that you're going to see is that relationship of trying to be respectful of the fact that we have homes right across the street and not wanting the addition to be too large. This is just another look. This is more like an eye view looking at, as you're coming down the street, how you see the height comparison of the addition to the existing building. Now looking here in our library learning commons, the space that we're in right now, the difference that it's going to make in the space, new furniture, having some exciting painting, again, having this carpet that we have, just trying to make it a bright and exciting space for the children to be in. Looking another view, looking into where we would have our front entrance into the space, just the activity that the students can have around the area, the different zones we can have for the furniture, so that we have different ways to use the space. You can see the fun furniture that we have for the students, and also where we would have the book stacks in the middle of the space. Now looking at the nest area that we've been having for the elementary schools, and it's just a fun space for the kids to feel like they're actually in nature. We have the branches going up the wall, we have the canopy of the, like being up underneath the trees. So we have the colors that reflect the trees and the branches, and having the structure to be painted a blue to represent the sky. Just a fun area for the students to be around, have some excitement, and feel like they're part of nature. So this is looking into our STEAM room, and that has the direct access, as you can see, right off of the library learning commons. So that's just a direct relationship between the two spaces, the visibility and the way that they would be using it. This would be a space that would have the resilient flooring so that when they have projects, it's not getting on the carpet, it's getting on something that's easily cleaned. So that's just a fun space. We think the students would like that, having nice fun furniture, and then again that direct access to the library. Another view in that same space. As you can see through the window, you can see how you see the branches, and you're looking over at the nest area in the library. This is a typical classroom, looking at how on the far wall, you're looking at the vertical unit ventilator, and that is the mechanical unit that is going to be heating and cooling the space. And we try to combine that with the tall cabinets, just like we've done with Adams, so that it's not so obtrusive in the space. It's something that we need in the space, but we also want it to blend in the space. And then looking at the flexible furniture options that you can have, the different types of seating. We can have the low seating, the high seating. We have the seating where they can sit on the little, little pucks, I guess we would call it, on the floor, so that they have different ways of learning and interacting. And then looking at the gym edition, a fun space where the kids can just have a nice big area, enjoy the space, and be part with that playful area. Also having some fun with the colors of the painting, just to give them a live, energetic space. So that is it for Jefferson. Any questions about that? Or if you want to hold questions until the end when we go through Vandenberg as well. And again, it's the same thing, the concept of the color palette, which is the same for Jefferson, Vandenberg, and Adams. So all of these colors that you're seeing on here, these are the ones that you can actually see if you were to walk into Adams. It's the same color palette that you would see. It's the same concept for all three schools. Again, looking at the site plan, showing the large arrow, how you enter the building, the medium-sized arrows where you're coming off of the addition, and how that plays in with the parking lot, and then the smaller arrows in the back that's showing how the kids would be coming out of the kindergarten area going for the playground. Looking at the floor plan, similar to what you saw before, looking at the carpet that we have in the classrooms. Another thing that I want to mention is that when we have the casework, we have solid surface for the countertops so that wherever we have anything that's wet, we're not worrying about a plastic laminate that's going to start warping because it's around a wet area. So that's another thing that we have. And then this is just showing a fabric that we would have for a tack board in those spaces. So those are some of the finishes that we have there. Looking at the new toilet rooms that we have in the addition. So this would be the flooring that we would have, the tile flooring for that. Again, the resilient flooring of the courts that we would have, which is typical for all of the spaces like the cafeteria, in the corridor area. The walk-up carpet again, the exit carpet that we have for our library learning commons. We have our color palette that is typical for classroom areas. We also have our color palette that is typical for our nest area that we have, which goes along with the branches, and then we have for the ceiling area, the canopies where the kids can be under. So that's the basic color palette, and feel free afterwards, if anybody wants to come up and see these a little closer, feel free to come up. But that's what that's showing. Again, looking at another rendering, showing again how we wanted to be conscious and considerate of the fact that we have, you know, the neighbors right across the street. We didn't want to have a really big building because for both Jefferson and Vandenberg, the addition is closer to the street. Where for Adams, if you all remember, that addition is a little further back. So that one had one height, and then when we had them closer to the street for Jefferson and Vandenberg, we wanted to lower it just a little bit to be respectful of the neighbors. So that's just a view looking at how that addition would be situated. Another view as you're driving down the street, looking back at the addition. Looking at the library learning commons where we are right now, and looking at, there was some discussion about the actual office area. So this is showing very well the office area that happens in this space. Because there was a question about whether or not that angle was still there. So this will show you how that cuts off.
Yeah, I see it.
And then you see how we have the existing head-in room that's right next to it. So this is just showing a view, looking at also the breakout room that we would have in there, the visibility between the spaces, adding some paint in here, just a lively space for the kids. It would be a nice space for them. Looking at the branches that we would have, so our nest area in this building is in this area, and that's where you would see the branches, you see the tree tops, and then of course painting the structure to look like the sky. Just another view of that, so you can see how we have the elevated seating for the kids to sit in the different areas and interact together. So it's just going to be a fun space, just like what they have at Adams. It's a nice fun space, so that's what we plan to have for both Jefferson and Vandenberg. This is a shot looking in at that breakout room. So it's a small group area where small sessions can get together, a few kids could get in there, and they could have little one-on-one or one-on-two kind of a learning area. So that's just a view in the breakout room. You can see through the glass over into the STEAM area that's across the way. And this is looking into that STEAM area, and you can see from there through the window, looking back at the breakout room. And this is just showing the space where the kids can have all of their activities. Again, this is showing that resilient flooring so that if there's any messes, it could be easily cleaned up. And even if there were messes on the carpet, the one thing about this carpet is these are carpet tiles. So if there's a spot that gets messy, you can always remove that and replace it with another piece. So even if it were to be carpet, it's easily cleanable by just removing and replacing it.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
I mean, the carpet tiles.
Yes.
How long will we have that style of carpet tile in, so say in 3 years, we need to replace that type of tile?
So when the project is done, you also get added stock. So there would be additional tiles that you would have. So it's not like just what's on the floor is it. You have some additional stock that you could be replacing with.
Okay.
Yes, so
And then
that
each
would
building
be.
would have their own?
That is correct.
stuff?
That is correct. Yes, with each building, yes. This is showing another typical example of a classroom. Again, looking at the vertical unit ventilator for your heating, which is your heating and ventilation that's going in the room, situated next to tall casework. And looking at the gym again, different design for your pattern of your accent. But this is what we would be having, similar to Jefferson and similar to Adams. So, any questions? I hope I wasn't going through that too fast. Any questions on materials, colors?
Uh-huh.
I just
I
wanted to point out-
caught it on the Jefferson, but I kept. No, just a picture of a girl in there, it looks like she has a pacifier in her mouth. Yeah, you should be outgrown that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a question? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We need like
Okay, next item on the agenda is discuss Fisher Elementary School and Pierce Middle School abatement.
Thank you, Madam President. So to speak with the board this evening about the non-glamorous part is our partner, who is our owner's representative, Ms. Michelle Kearns, to talk with us about the abatement that's necessary for both Pierce as well as Fisher. Michelle.
So after the work is determined, we meet with our environmental consultant, Nova Environmental, and they look at what the work is calling for and then what things need to be abated. And things that need to be abated, sometimes it's door and window caulk, insulation, flooring. They prepared a bid package for Fisher and Pierce. The idea there to get a little bit of economy of scale. And this is also for the 24 and 25 work, because we're going to have work both summers. So we got 3 bids, and we're awarding it to the low bidder, recommending a low bidder of Gold Reed. And Nova Environmental has used them before and found them to be a very good contractor.
Now, the abatement is where they have to wear those special suits and making sure it's straight in my journal.
Any more questions? Concerns? Thank you, Michelle. Now we'll take a break for about 10 minutes at 7:42. I call this meeting back to order at 7:56. Next item on the agenda is consider Fisher Elementary and Pierce Middle School furniture project part 1. Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, Madam President. At the board meeting on February 26, 2024, the board discussed the Fisher and Pierce furniture projects. Quotes were received utilizing the consortium and better pricing, including a negotiated letter of understanding. The companies that are recommended for the work required are listed below. And the award of $604,030.63 will be paid for out of the 2021 bond. Madam President, a resolution is attached to consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
Through the chair.
Yes.
I move the adoption of the following resolution.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Early and supported by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 7 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is consider amendment to general appropriations for the 2023-2024 school year. Mr. Rob.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our Finance Director, Linda Earl, to present the budget amendment for consideration to the board.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just gonna dive right in. I've given you a copy of the budget amendment, which includes a column for the audited financial statements for 22-23, what the proposed 23-24 budget was approved in June, and the 23-24 budget amendment. There continues to be a flurry of activity here in South Redford. Good things happening. The Adams renovation was completed. The Fisher renovations are coming along. Innovation Center is nearing completion and has an official MDE building number now. Central office is looking fresh with their new coat of paint. And the GSRP, Great Start Readiness Program, was launched this past fall at Fisher and Vandenberg. So along with all of the renovations that are going on to the buildings, we still have one thing that is constant, and that is the delivery of quality education here at South Redford. Through the amendment process, we have seen a net increase in revenues of $4,254,406. In June, you approved a budget that showed $52,839,120 in projected revenues. And through various avenues, we're seeing that that number has increased to $57,093,526. Areas where we saw some increases are property taxes and our local revenue of a projected $95,521. Latchkey, or our Kids Care program, we're seeing projected revenues of increases of $31,000. An area where we saw some decreases was in our E-rate reimbursements. The reason for this is that this cycle of E-rate was mostly spent down in FY23, but in FY25, which is next year, 24-25, you'll see a new cycle of E-rate funding, and you'll see those revenues come back up again. In the state revenue, we saw an overall increase of $3,666,371, which includes foundation allowance increases of $883,000, at risk $192,606 increase, special ed, and then of course the GSRP money that came in that included a base allocation for the operations as well as startup monies. In federal revenue, we saw a net decrease of $98,606. However, we saw carryover for Title I of $218,000. Title IV, we saw an allocation plus carryover from previous years of $44,846. ESSER III, we saw a reduction of $42,900 from what we had projected in June. And this is mostly because we did some I don't want to say last minute, but basically last minute payouts and paid invoices after the proposed budget was approved by the board in June. That's where you saw that drop for the ESSER III monies. And just to remind everyone, the ESSER III monies are those COVID-related funds that came in from the federal government. Other revenues, we're seeing a net increase from county and other revenues of $619,000. Transportation, we saw a prior year adjustment of $154,364, and then additional Act 18 payments. In the area of expenditures, we're seeing an increase from what we had projected in June. The net increase being $3,831,796. In June, you approved a budget that detailed and projected $56,107,346, and those expenditures are now coming in at a projected $59,939,142. Areas where we saw increases, basic programs and added needs under instruction. You're seeing year 2 of your collective bargaining agreements for teachers, administrators, and for clerical. Similarly, there were increases for your non-bargaining South Redford staff as well. We saw increases in the share time expenses due to the expansion of the share time program, as well as counselors and social workers. Those expenditures continuing on. Other areas of increase, support services, we saw an overall increase of $1,236,403. Pupil support increases of $686,964. A large part of that was due to the expansion of the share time program. Instructional staff increases of $155,000. Pupil transportation, we saw an increase of $159,000, and then central services of $412,395. Some areas where we saw some decreases were business services. We saw a decrease of $148,263, and then operations and maintenance, we saw a net decrease of $163,824. Other areas of decrease were athletics, a decrease of $38,985, and then community services, we saw a decrease of $70,852. Again, ESSER highlights. ESSER money, again, is your COVID-related funding that came in from the federal government. ESSER 2 was completely used up in FY23. This year, we are using the balance of your ESSER 3 monies. That totals $2,104,020. $737,000 of that is going to be used to fund staffing, vocal teacher, interventionists, contracted subs, social workers, and some media specialists' salary and benefits. The balance, $1,366,947, is allocated to building improvements and repairs. Some new grants that we saw come through this year, GSRP, you can see the list here. There is a district transportation that's coming in through state aid. Those numbers are still, we're still waiting for the final number to come in from the state on those. Those are based on last year's transportation costs, and they haven't completed their calculations from the final reports that are submitted by us. We also have 23G, which is My Kids Back on Track. That was amounted to $301,000. And then we also saw 27L, which is an educator compensation program, which helps to fund those year 2 of our union contracts. So our ending fund balance, we had projected in June that our ending fund balance for FY '24 would be $5,849,979. We're now projecting that it is going to be $5,893,411. So let's dig into this a little bit. So some of the reasons you're seeing increased, kind of a summary of your increased expenditures is we saw the full launching of your CTE program, the expansion of the share time program, again, year 2 of your collective bargaining contracts. And we've also saw athletic equipment that was purchased to replace athletic equipment that had not been purchased for a number of years. Mr. Reeves has also supplied us with a plan for staggered replacements of the athletic equipment for the next 10 years. So when we get ready to have to replace athletic equipment again, it's not going to be all at once. It'll be staggered and much more manageable for the budget. Some of the items that are under consideration are the custodial maintenance and grounds agreements. We are having discussions with ABM as we speak, and you may see some changes in that contract for FY25. And for transportation, we're getting ready to release a request proposal for transportation, and that should be out probably by the end of this week. We do realize that we need to make some improvements. You were all here and you heard Plant Moran when they were here for our audit, and we've already been discussing how we're going to make some changes and what we need to do to help better the financial situation for South Bradford. So if we look back at the proposed budget that was approved in June, it called for a decrease in the fund balance by $3,258,226. This amendment calls for a decrease of $2,825,616. So we've been able to improve our position by $422,000. Doesn't seem like a lot of money, but every tiny bit helps. Another thing to note is that our ending fund balance in June, which again, all of our numbers are not complete in June. We're still paying bills. It's a hard thing to really project accurately what your final numbers are going to be. We projected that our ending fund balance was going to be $9,108,205. When everything was said and done, our audited numbers came in at $8,719,027. So part of the reason for that loss is that we paid some very large construction bills out of general fund near the end of the school year, and that totaled roughly about $600,000. So you're probably wondering why we paid construction out of the general fund. If you recall, before Mr. Galdis left, he and you approved a chunk of money out of the general fund to pay for certain construction costs. Those were restricted funds specifically for HVAC and for other improvements. That was part of where that $600,000 came from. So the last thing I'd ask you to note is that you're seeing that the percentages of our ending fund balance are lower. 10.43% of our proposed budget versus the 9.83% in our amendment. The one thing I want you to keep in mind is that you saw an increase, we're seeing an increase in our revenues of $4.2 million and an increase in our expenditures of $3.8 million. So with a larger pot, those improvements make a smaller difference. We're still working on sinking fund. As you know, it was approved in the May 2022 election. Much of it continues to be allocated for district renovation projects and some for repairs as they come up. As you know, sinking funds are highly restricted, and not all repairs qualify to be paid for with sinking funds. So while it would be great if we could go through and pay for all of our building repairs, we can't do that. So some of the things like having drains cleaned out and that kind of thing, those are not allowable uses with sinking fund money. Our current balance in the sinking fund is $2,557,832. Bond updates. The 2014 bond is being refunded, or more layman's terms, refinanced, for an overall savings to the taxpayers. That number is actually closer to $850,000. The $600,000 is what you're going to see immediately, and over time, that number will grow to over $800,000. And we are due to close on that this week. Our current balance in the phase 1 of the 2021 bond is $26,971,604. And as you can see, Michelle Kearns was here tonight, and she continues to collaborate with the finance department, with Barton Mallow, with TMP, and she's continues to find ways that we can reduce and nip potential problems before they happen, which will, in the long run, will save money in change costs and other overruns. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
In this part of the section,
Yes.
you indicate that we decreased spending for community services by $70,000. What did we eliminate to have that decrease?
I can get that information and send it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Just so you know, the finance department doesn't necessarily make those decisions. We crunch the numbers and we pay the bills. And so, not to say that I'm not part of those conversations, but at the end of the day, those are instructional.
Yeah, I'm just curious what kind of community services we got.
To the chair?
Yes.
Linda, I think it was last year we talked about that investment company that we voted for that investment company. Is that anything to do with our finances?
Are you talking about the investment of the bond proceeds?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we did invest those monies, and that is helping.
Okay.
It is helping the bond fund balance, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay, there's a resolution for that. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
To the chair,
Yes.
I move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been adopted by Mrs. Fletcher and supported by Mr. Winston. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 7 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. There are none. Next item on the agenda is Plus Delta Plan for Improvement.
Madam President, what processes help the board work in their general meeting this evening? Pluses.
Do I have there any pluses that help? Well, I was really glad that Mrs. Hughes gave us all that good news. That was good news. And I just want to thank the teachers for their continuous help in trying to, or continue to help our students do the best that they can do to give them a good education. I was impressed with that. Anybody else?
Pluses? Okay. What opportunities for improvement would assist the board deltas?
Are there any? Well, I see none. If there's anything further, I say no. Since there's nothing further that comes before this board, I adjourn the meeting at 8:18.